Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm excited to share my latest 3D printing project. This Avengers Endgame Thanos statue. I purchased the STL file from 3D Wicked, as I felt it was a must for my collection. For this project, I'm using Chitterbox as my slicing program. Now, I know a lot of you love Lychee, but let me tell you why I prefer Chitterbox. Chitterbox offers a seamless interface that's incredibly user-friendly. The customization options for supports and the slicing speed are just top-notch. I find it gives me the perfect balance between control and ease of use. Now we are ready to print. The printers I will be using for this project are the recently released Elegoo Saturn for Ultra and the smaller Mars 3 Pro. Both printers have been extremely beginner-friendly, and I would highly recommend looking to Elegoo for your first printer. As you can see, the printer displays both the file name and a preview image before you start printing. I decided to print this statue at 1/6 scale, and I think it may be my biggest project yet. If all goes well, I will need to do a total of 6 separate prints between the two printers. Let's pray for no failed prints. With the first batch of prints done, it is time to remove them from the base plate and prepare them to be washed and cured. I use a sharp metal spatula to remove the print from the build plate. Once removed, I dump them in a hot bucket of water to soften the supports, as well clean some of the residual resin before removing the supports and cleaning in IPA. I use my Elegoo Mercury XS Bundle to further wash the prints. I typically run the wash for 4 minutes. While that is running, I will use this time to prepare my printers for their next prints. After trying a few different resins, Sunlu Standard Plus has been by far my favorite. I forgot to have the Saturn for Ultra vat leveled before filling it, and as a result I overfilled it. No problem, I will just have to pour some out. Now that we are done that, time to take out the prints to dry for 24 hours before putting them to cure. In the meantime, I will begin working on this video. I have recently discovered CapCut, and it has completely enhanced my workflow when editing. I handle all my editing on a 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M3 Pro chip, and I use Apple Sidecar to extend my workspace with a 12.9-inch iPad Pro as a second display. Looks like it's time to repeat the process with the second set of prints. Once again, I will rinse the prints in a fresh bucket of hot water. I like to remove most of the supports underwater. I find it helps them come off easier, leaving less damage to the model. You can see how dirty the isopropyl alcohol gets after just a few batches of prints. Looks like I will be needing to replace it soon. As you can see, I ran into a little hiccup. I wasn't able to fill the resin vat to the max line. Why? Well, I just ran out of resin right in the middle of the action. But don't worry, the saga isn't over. I've got a fresh batch of resin on the way, arriving any moment now. Crisis averted, for now. With all the parts now successfully printed, I will cure them for about 4 minutes each. Curing resin after printing is crucial, because it hardens the material fully, making the print stronger and more durable. It also ensures the resin is safe to handle by solidifying any uncured parts. Now we're ready to start post-processing the parts to remove any remaining supports and smooth out any imperfections. Once that's done, I'll move on to gluing the base together. I use a combination of super glue, craft glue, resin, and plastic putty to ensure the base is well held together and all the gaps are filled and flush with the rest of the print. With all the parts now cleaned up, I will prime all the parts in black paint using my airbrush. Finally, after all of that, we are ready to begin painting the statue. Now that the base is ready, it's time to bring it to life with some paint. I'm starting by dry brushing the skulls in a soft ivory color, which really helps them stand out against the darker tones. Next, I'll work on the rocks, layering different shades to create a natural, textured look. Once the base colors are down, I'll apply a wash to bring out all those fine details and add depth to the piece. Before moving on, I like to do a quick test assembly to get a sense of how the statue is coming together. This helps me visualize the final piece and make any adjustments before the finishing touches. Now we're diving into the main event, painting Thanos himself. I'm starting with his iconic gold armor, laying down the base color with an airbrush to achieve that smooth, even finish. Airbrushing is my go-to for large, flat areas like this because it gives me a flawless coat without any brush strokes. I'm using a high-quality metallic gold paint here, which catches the light beautifully and really gives Thanos that imposing, regal presence. Next up, I'm moving on to the exposed parts of Thanos' skin. I start by carefully applying a deep, rich purple to cover the area, making sure the color is even and smooth. Once that's done, I go in with a fine detail brush to ensure all the smaller areas of exposed skin blend correctly, refining the details and achieving the depth and vibrancy I'm aiming for. In the final product, you'll notice I used a combination of different shades of purple, along with dry brushing techniques, to achieve the right tone and highlights. This approach really brings out the muscle definition and character in the sculpt, creating a smooth transition between highlights and shadows. I could have airbrushed most of his skin, but I chose to hand paint instead to match the areas I couldn't reach without overspraying onto already painted parts. This gave me a consistent finish across all areas, tying the shades and dry brushing together seamlessly. Once the skin is done, it's back to the armor, this time focusing on the darker areas. I'm using Payne's Grey from Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl line. It's a deep, dark blue tone that contrasts beautifully with the gold, adding depth and dimension to the armor. Like all of their paints, it offers excellent coverage, allowing me to achieve rich, opaque layers with minimal effort. Now, this was my favorite part of the whole build. Painting the intricate details on Thanos' chest and watching the armor come to life. It's incredibly satisfying to see all those elements come together and start to reveal the character's full presence. With the main sections complete, it's time to work on the finer details. I've got Captain America's broken shield and Iron Man's helmet to paint on the base. These small touches really bring the entire piece together adding a layer of storytelling to the scene. As I go through each step, I'm making sure to pay attention to the smallest details, blending colors, and adding washes to bring out all the intricate textures. The goal is to create a piece that feels dynamic and true to the character, with every element contributing to the overall impact. For Iron Man's helmet, I start by spraying a rich gold, laying down a smooth, even coat. Once that's dry, I go in with a fine brush to add the red detailing, carefully painting around the edges to keep the lines clean. This contrast between the gold and red really adds a nice touch of color to Thanos' base. Onto the double-bladed sword, I spray an even coat of dark metallic before adding gunmetal black to the edges and recesses for depth. It gives both blades a fierce, battle-ready look. The Infinity Stones are the centerpiece of the gauntlet. To make them look like glass, I start with solid base colors for each stone, working through their individual hues: a deep red, a vivid green, an intense blue, a bright orange, vibrant purple, and a vaulting yellow in the center. To give the Infinity Stones that glass-like glow, I applied a thin gloss varnish over each stone. This creates a subtle but effective reflective finish, making each gem stand out. Lastly, I move to Thanos' eyes, starting with a deep blue base and adding a small white highlight for that intense gaze. I shade around the eyes to bring out his expression, then finish with a gloss coat to give them a lifelike shine. This final touch adds depth, making his stare all the more intimidating. Now for the final flourish, a quick metallic dry brush across the base. It gives just the right hint of wear and texture, making the scene feel grounded and battle-hardened. With that, we can officially call this masterpiece done. Thanos is ready to conquer the universe, or at least your display shelf.